Welcome on back, everybody. We're to the next to last video in the Be Crit process. Let's talk about how you're investing in not only your business, physically and more, but how are you investing in you as the business owner along the way? Let's check it. Welcome on back, everybody. My name is Jenna O'Malley. I am your soul writer, author of sci-fi, fantasy of dashes of romance and nerdy references. If you're enjoying this mini-series, keep in mind and keep an eye out for my next paid-for coaching program that's coming out later this fall. So, in the meantime, if you've missed the first 3 or 4 videos in the Be Crit process, you are welcome to go ahead and catch up, though you could probably answer the questions in the journal below in isolation or just go along with us with the questions here on the screen. So we're not going to delay much more than to say question number 1. What kind of skills and tools do you have versus what time and money are available to learn new skills or improve upon current skills? So I always ask new people or people rebranding as part of my coaching this question. Time is your greatest resource, not money. This is that whole notion, time is money for a reason, okay? You're also going to definitely want to ask yourself what your strengths are, okay? Asked you those things a couple of questions back. They are free game for review here, okay? Because ultimately, you are a one-person show, but you can only do so much. You are human. Brain science, neurodivergence, and more type research has shown that the brain can handle 7 big things a day before we start feeling burned out, tired, overworked, so on. They call them bits of memory, kind of like how computers' smallest component of memory, I believe, is called a bit. It mirrors the human brain for a reason. If you don't know, it takes bits to make bytes, and we're now talking storing stuff in the aspect of, G's and T's. We're talking, full-on terabytes of data. Computers will forever outdo us, and we have designed them to be able to outdo us in that regard for a reason, because we wish we could do more. Ultimately, therefore, if you can't do it alone, you're going to eventually have to consider when you can start paying people, because it's more effective for that money to go to someone you pay, whether it be an editor, a book cover, someone to be your personal assistant, someone to simply help you just set up your website. There's a bunch of different ways that you could see where you could be partnering, associating, collaborating, and so on with people, affiliating even in some cases, to where you not only make some money back, but maybe get some followers out of it too, perhaps applies. How are you outsourcing to, hiring, and more can eventually there become our second question as part of the routines of your business. This is how businesses start, in the corner of bedrooms, and then move into whole offices. I kid you not. If you look back 3-4 years ago on this channel, when all I was doing outside of teaching at the time was hosting sprints and just writing my books, you will see I was literally in a corner of my childhood bedroom starting my business. So many businesses start in basements of homes, on the kitchen counter for a reason, and then they grow and they eventually evolve into having that added connectivity. I don't want to call it a resource to another human being, because human resource is a questionable term if you ask me as a business owner. So what kind of equipment, therefore? We've talked about the people. Let's look at the equipment, the software, the tech, okay? Many of you know that this is my 3rd computer for the business. I started on my laptop I had at the time when I first started streaming, used it until it kerplunked and fell apart. Bought a 2nd laptop and used it solely for the business, and basically used it until the power cord on it was like, hi, I'm starting to burn out. And the motherboard was suddenly giving me blue screens of death, because they're like, yeah, we've dealt with too many immortals. So I wonder which one of those nat zeros and F-Tiri rolled for book 2 cost my computer a little bit in the rebrand. Anyway, so what are therefore also number 3, the major factors you can consider on rotation to include new and returning visitors to your readership? Is it maybe there's a new platform, because platforms have been platforming and plateauing and kerplunking themselves for a lot of us authors here in the last year or two, Where are you going to go more? Get off of rented land mindset with your business. This is why I'm trying to build more and more and more and gear more and more people to go to my personal websites. Why? Because I would love to be able to hire a certain company to redo my websites. And we're trying to get there so that they can interconnect them and make them talk and everything and do all the lore stuff I want to do long term, right? Right. This also becomes in a, maybe I need to upgrade my cell phone to be my vlog camera, or maybe I need to be buying something to type better. Maybe there's software I want to learn how to use, like Notion, or, you know, maybe there's even something like AutoCrit I need to actually pay for, plus learn how to use could also apply. And then, of course, treats. To keep our office assistants that are of the fur baby variety probably get used en masse. If you want to give Loki treats, buy my books. Anyway, also, what major other factors are your readership going to nerd out along with you? Will they enjoy watching you do an office remodel or put together new tech? You know, can you put that as part of your social media growth long term too? Can also apply here. Finally, the last 3 questions are going to really look at what can you do to get investors, people who pay you money to do your business that aren't necessarily always maybe clients or readers or customers or consumers in the traditional sense. There's this concept of angel investors, you know, where someone will donate and teach you things or donate to see you grow to a point. They are so worth finding. Okay, there, at least around me, are Chamber of Commerce events here in Maryland that angel investors will kind of loiter around, and it's not a well-kept but hush-hush secret that that's the case. Maybe if you as an author hang around certain writerly groups or certain university groups or certain libraries that have big donators and parties to uphold them. I'm even thinking here in Hagerstown, we have the Maryland Theater. What is something I could do that would get me to hover around their investors? You see what I mean? As a local author could apply. This also could lead you to looking for grants, things of that nature. What local, regional, national, and more entities can help you through that kind of funding to get investing in your business, not just loans. Loans are okay, especially if you know you can pay them back. I'm a bigger fan of looking for things like fellowships that are stipended, especially if they're research based around your writing. Grant programs. I live in a state that historically known to, depending on who's in power, favor the arts or not. So those programs are getting cuts and not in some realms of the US right now. But if you can find them, use them. Okay? If you can find them, use them. And I always say, ask your local Chamber of Commerce, if you live here in the US, to see if they have any information on anyone looking to invest with a local author, collaborate with a local author, events you would qualify to go to get around those kind of people included, okay? And then finally, what is my time investment like on the weekly? And what are systems I can use to effectively monitor and catalyze it to my advantage? I guess I should say, rather, as part of that wording. This is why I love systems like the 12-week year. This is why I love HB90. It's why I love bullet journaling. It's why I, as a teacher who did data forever during my teaching career, love being able to look back and reflect. Okay? It becomes a reflection point. A lot of people I know who do tarot often ask me, Jenna, what were you doing in your business 6 months ago? I was quite thoroughly busy 6 months ago wrapping up a coaching program and editing and quite enjoying it. I'm not doing much of that. I'm in an off season and gearing up into a full-blown run of a similar. Kind of like what I was doing a year ago is what I probably should reflect that, you know, my Julys are always a certain way. My Januaries are always a certain way. And not just because I, taught in a career where that was the case. It just so happens that my business is lining up with that too, energetically. So look at how you're investing your time and when. This is where I definitely say getting good at communicating your boundaries of, yes, I understand, this also is important to me, can be very powerful, especially like I said in a previous video. The risk is someone might get upset with you. Yeah, but parents, my moms and my dads who are listening to this are going, yeah, but it is so totally okay for me to learn that lesson in tandem with my child because they're seeing the full lesson full circle because they're bonusing getting to learn while watching you learn a lesson too, okay? And maybe vice versa a little bit. So what kind of ways are you investing in yourself and your business in the coming weeks, months, or maybe even years? Go ahead and chat below. get journaling, and if you have any questions, let me know. Above all, take care of yourself. You and your voice, your characters all matter now more than ever. It's not just a dream. It's been with you for a long time. She's agreeing. It's been with you for a long time for a reason, my friend. Or else it wouldn't have stayed around.